Okay, let's unpack this. When you think of global cities celebrated for their vibrant culture and openness, Sydney, Australia is often right at the top of the list, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It just buzzes with energy.
Yeah, and it's long held this incredible reputation as like a beacon for the LGBTQ plus community. It's dynamic, it's colorful.
And known for being profoundly inclusive.
Yeah, definitely.
And within that larger, incredibly diverse community, finding specific spaces where everyone not only feels safe but genuinely celebrated is, well, it's profoundly significant.
Especially in a big city, right? Like Sydney.
Exactly. Nightlife in particular can be such a crucial part of social connection, self-expression, finding your tribe, all that stuff.
Totally. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. You've shared some source material with us specifically, this article that shines a light on welcoming venues in Sydney's nightlife scene.
Hmm.
And it has a particular focus on the transgender community. So our mission really is to dig into this article and try to understand why these 5 specific places are highlighted.
Right. What makes them stand out?
Yeah, what makes them these unique safe havens where, and I love how the source puts this, trans patrons aren't just accepted, they're celebrated.
That phrase aren't just accepted, they're celebrated. It carries a lot of weight, doesn't it?
It really does.
It implies something, well, far deeper than mere tolerance. It speaks to active affirmation, joy, belonging.
Exactly.
So our job is to look at the specific details the source gives us for each of these 5 venues and see how they supposedly achieve that level of genuine celebration.
I'm really looking forward to exploring these spots the source highlights. It paints a picture of Sydney's nightlife not just as places to grab a drink, but as places where you can find, like, a sense of community.
Feel truly seen, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's jump in.
Right. So the article kicks off with a venue it calls a landmark name in Sydney's scene, specifically for the trans community.
Okay, let's talk about the Imperial Erskineville. The source describes this place as, well, a cultural icon. It mentions its long history stretching way back to the 1980s. And, of course, it famously appeared in The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. That alone kind of solidifies its legendary status, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That film connection gives it instant recognition, I think, particularly within the queer community globally.
Yeah.
And the article identifies its core identity as a symbol of inclusion, that's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
It suggests the venue carries a kind of historical and cultural responsibility, maybe, for setting a standard.
So, according to the source, what are the specific things the Imperial does that, make it stand out like that?
Well, the piece points first to its famed drag shows and performances. But it's not just any drag. The source makes a point of mentioning that these shows specifically include trans and gender diverse artists.
Oh, okay.
Mixing cabaret, burlesque, high-energy acts, the whole lot.
That feels significant. Providing a prominent stage and visibility for trans artists seems fundamental to moving from just acceptance to, like you said, genuine celebration.
Exactly, giving that community a platform to shine.
Right.
The source also notes that the Imperial offers a variety of themed nights. Things like the popular Drag and Dine experience, alongside wilder late-night club events.
So it caters to different tastes?
Yeah, it suggests the venue caters to different preferences, offering multiple ways for people to engage with the space and its community. So whether you're looking for, like, a sit-down dinner show or a full-on dance floor night.
We've got something for you, according to the article.
Exactly. And crucially, linking back to our mission today, the article emphasizes its inclusive atmosphere.
Okay.
It describes the Imperial as being dedicated to fostering a space where trans people feel comfortable expressing themselves freely. The source highlights that both the staff and patrons are welcoming and committed to diversity and equality.
That commitment, that feeling of safety and freedom, seems to be the defining characteristic the article wants to emphasize for this place.
I think so. Knowing that the people around you, both working there and visiting, are actively welcoming must make a huge difference in feeling, truly comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone wanting to visit, the source gives the location. 35 Erskineville Rod in Erskineville.
Right. So moving from Erskineville, the article then takes us right into the heart of Sydney's most famous LGBTQ plus strip, Oxford Street.
Yes.
To discuss another iconic venue.
Okay, the Stonewall Hotel. Just the name itself immediately evokes, that connection to the historic Stonewall riots in New York. It signals its roots in the fight for LGBTQ plus rights. The article says it's been a staple in Sydney's scene since 1997.
It does, and that name choice isn't accidental, surely. It plants the venue firmly in that legacy of championing LGBTQ plus rights and inclusion.
Right.
And the source specifically highlights Stonewall's support for the transgender community through its regular events. So it suggests a deliberate focus on gender diversity there, too.
And like the Imperial, the article also highlights its physical layout, mentioning the variety spread across its 3 levels.
Yeah, from more casual bars to energetic dance floors, that structure is indeed one of the features the source points out. 3 levels of entertainment. Okay.
The article implies this creates different environments under one roof, allowing people to choose where they feel most comfortable. Maybe a quieter space for conversation or a place to dance all night.
Makes sense. And again, performances are a key element here, right? Based on the source.
Yes. Another highlight is their drag and variety shows. And the source explicitly notes that these shows regularly spotlight trans performers.
Okay, so that's a recurring theme.
It is. It echoes what we heard about the Imperial and reinforces that visibility on stage is a recurring theme the article uses to define these celebratory spaces. It's about ensuring gender-diverse artists are seen and featured prominently.
So providing that platform is clearly seen by the source as like a vital part of creating an inclusive and celebratory space.
Absolutely. And the third key highlight from the source for Stonewall is its community commitment and advocacy.
Okay. What does that involve?
Well, the article mentions that Stonewall often hosts events specifically supporting trans rights, actively raising awareness and funds for relevant causes.
So this moves beyond simply being a venue for the community. It positions Stonewall as a place that actively works to support and uplift the community.
That level of active advocacy, using the venue's platform for fundraising and awareness. Yeah, that feels like a really strong indicator of dedication, according to the article.
I'd agree. And the Stonewall Hotel is located at 175 Oxford St. Darlinghurst.
Okay. Shifting gears a bit from these maybe larger, well-known institutions, the article next points us towards a venue it describes as more intimate, perhaps more eclectic.
Right. The Bearded Tit in Redfern.
Okay.
The source calls it a quirky, queer-friendly bar. Even the name suggests a certain kind of unique personality.
It really does. It sounds like a place with a strong artistic pulse and a deliberately non-judgmental atmosphere, based on the article's description anyway.
It certainly does seem that way. The source confirms this, describing it as a favorite among the transgender community and explicitly calling it one of Sydney's most inclusive spots and a safe haven.
Wow, strong words.
Yeah. The article seems to link its popularity directly to that specific, welcoming atmosphere it cultivates.
So what does the source highlight about that atmosphere specifically? What makes it tick?
Firstly, its creative atmosphere. The source paints a picture of the Bearded Tit as more than just a place to drink. It's presented as, like, a creative hub.
Interesting.
The article mentions it showcases local art, performance, and music, noting its eccentric decor and featuring art exhibitions by LGBTQ plus artists. This artistic element seems central to its unique brand of inclusivity.
So it's like stepping into a vibrant, living art space that also happens to be a bar, where the art itself sort of contributes to the queer-friendly vibe.
That's a good way to put it, based on the source's description. The article also notes it hosts live performances and events, music, drag, and again specifies these often feature trans and gender-diverse performers.
Okay, another echo of that theme.
Exactly. And crucially, the article highlights that these happen in a relaxed, informal environment, which kind of sets it apart from some of the bigger clubs, maybe.
That relaxed feel probably makes it feel very approachable, I'd imagine. And the final highlight.
Crucially, the source explicitly recognizes it as a safe space.
Right.
The article states clearly that the staff and patrons are known for being incredibly welcoming and open-minded. And significantly, it mentions the venue has a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination.
Okay, that's key.
Yeah. That intentional commitment to safety, backed by policy, is fundamental to the article classifying it as a safe haven.
A stated zero-tolerance policy must send a powerful message and contribute significantly to people feeling truly safe and comfortable expressing themselves, just like the article suggests.
Definitely. And the Bearded Tit is located at 183 Regent St. Redfern.
Okay. Heading back to Oxford Street now, our source then introduces a venue specifically highlighted for its focus on dancing and having a fun, retro good time.
Palms on Oxford.
Yeah.
The article calls it a retro-themed nightclub on the iconic Oxford Street strip. I can almost hear the classic pop hits already.
Me too.
Yeah.
The source notes it's beloved for its fun, unpretentious vibe. It sounds like a place where the main goal is simply to, dance and enjoy yourself.
Seems like it. The source confirms its welcoming attitude towards the entire LGBTQ+ community, including trans patrons, emphasizing it as a go-to spot for a night of pop anthems and dancing.
What are the key highlights the source uses to describe Palms?
Well, the most obvious one is the throwback music. The article says it's known for playing classic hits from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Nice.
This creates a specific, nostalgic, feel-good atmosphere that seems pretty central to its identity.
Music definitely plays a huge role in setting the mood of a place, doesn't it?
It does. The article also highlights the inclusive crowd. It describes Palms as having a reputation where everyone, regardless of gender identity, is welcomed and embraced.
Okay.
The source specifically notes that this atmosphere allows trans individuals to feel comfortable being themselves without fear of judgment. So here, the article emphasizes that the people who go there are key contributors to its feeling of safety and inclusion.
Ah, interesting. So it's the collective energy and acceptance from fellow patrons that makes it feel like a safe and fun space, according to the article. That's a powerful dynamic.
It really is. And finally, the source points to its low-key vibe.
Right.
Compared to some other clubs, the article describes Palms as more laid back and no frills, with the focus squarely on dancing and enjoying yourself in a comfortable, unpretentious setting.
So less about the spectacle.
Exactly. More about the sheer joy of moving to the music, a place where you can really just let loose and dance without worrying about anything else.
Sounds great. Palms on Oxford is located at 124 Oxford St. Darlinghurst.
And that brings us to the fifth and final venue on Oxford Street, highlighted by our source.
Universal Sydney. Okay. The article mentions it was formerly known as the Midnight Shift.
Right, a very famous name in itself.
Yeah. And it positions it as another top destination right there on Oxford Street, celebrating diversity and the entire LGBTQ+ community with, again, that specific nod to transgender individuals.
Universal seems to be presented in the article as a larger, multifaceted venue offering a mix of entertainment options, sort of building on that vibrant Oxford Street energy.
What are the specific features the source highlights for Universal?
The article first points to its extravagant live shows and themed parties. It mentions these often include dynamic drag performances and DJ sets. And that recurring theme we've noted, the source specifically highlights that trans performers frequently take the stage here.
That consistency across several of these venues in featuring trans artists is really striking, isn't it? It just underlines the article's point about moving beyond acceptance to active celebration.
Absolutely, providing visibility and platforms.
Yeah.
It seems to be a deliberate choice by these venues, as noted by the source. The article also describes Universal as a spacious venue,
Okay.
featuring multiple levels for dancing, socializing, performances. It attracts a diverse crowd, and the multi-level layout suggests it can host various activities and accommodate lots of people comfortably.
More space often means more possibilities for different experiences within the same venue, I suppose.
Exactly. And the final highlight from the source, echoing what we heard about Stonewall, is its commitment to LGBTQ+ rights.
Right, the advocacy part again.
Yeah. The article states that Universal is an active supporter of causes, often using its events for fundraising and advocacy. It specifically mentions regular events focusing on trans rights and visibility,
Okay.
indicating it's another venue that actively uses its platform to support and advocate for the community it serves.
That active support through fundraising and events is a clear signal of dedication highlighted by the article. Universal Sydney is located at 8591 Oxford St. Darlinghurst.
So looking across these 5 venues, the Imperial, Stonewall, the Bearded Tit, Palms, and Universal the Source really paints a picture of variety, doesn't it?
Yeah, in terms of style and atmosphere, definitely. But it emphasizes a powerful common thread, intentional inclusivity, and that focus on celebrating the trans community.
Right. We've seen everything from historic cultural landmarks and large multi-level clubs known for advocacy to quirky art bars and pure dance havens. But the article consistently calls out each one for specific attributes, whether it's inclusive programming, zero-tolerance policies, or just the welcoming nature of the crowd and staff.
All things that create spaces where the trans community isn't just present, but genuinely welcomed and made to feel safe and celebrated.
Exactly. The article's language really drives home that point. These aren't just places that tolerate diversity, according to the source. They are specifically highlighted because they prioritize that feeling of belonging and active affirmation.
So, drawing from our deep dive into this specific source, the core finding really aligns perfectly with the article's opening statement. These 5 venues, the Imperial, Stonewall, the Bearded Tit, Palms, and Universal, They're presented as far more than just spots for a night out.
Yeah, they're described as sanctuaries of self-expression and safe harbors within Sydney's broader nightlife landscape.
The article uses truly evocative language there, portraying Sydney's nightlife not just as venues, but as a tapestry woven with threads of inclusivity.
Where it claims authenticity reigns supreme and every soul is free to shine. That aspirational ideal, according to the source, is what these specific venues embody for the transgender community.
And for you, our listener, this deep dive into this particular article highlights the real value in understanding the specific, tangible attributes, things like programming choices, explicit policies, the culture of the crowd and staff.
All the things that makes spaces like these so profoundly important for community, connection, and well-being.
Yeah. It underscores the idea, as the source suggests, that true inclusivity goes far beyond simply opening the doors. It requires, intentional creation of an environment where people feel truly seen and celebrated.
Which brings up an interesting question for you to maybe ponder, drawn directly from the themes in this source. How do these types of dedicated, intentional spaces, these safe harbors and sanctuaries described in the article, how do they contribute to a city's broader identity?
Good question.
How do they impact the overall well-being of its diverse communities, moving beyond just basic acceptance to active celebration? What fundamental, perhaps unseen role do places like these play in fostering that crucial sense of belonging for everyone in a city?